It's manufactured in a way that they're trying to put like a square, peg into a round hole. And it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And I saw that they were doing that in season 10, and they continued to do it. And Dorinda went up against it when in the season that she was in. And so listen, I'm not saying that like I'm not a producer on, and I'm sure the production company, I'm sure Bravo is happy with the production company, but they make choices, and they've said things about me on the show that weren't particularly flattering. So I'm not going to sit here and say they're amazing, because I don't think they are. I mean, for instance, keeping that scene in with Heather when she was talking to them and they were accusing her of Leia was reading some nonsense on some fake blog thing about what apparently was said in the press, which was her podcast. And then Luann, like out of the blue, she was like, called me a bitch. Right? That happened. Okay.
Yeah.
She called me a bitch. But
or she said Radziwill, I think, or something, Ratsy or something like that.
She said, she said, Heather, who were you talking with on your podcast? And Heather said, I was talking to Carole.
Yeah.
And she said, she's such a bitch. Okay. So that happened, right? So a lot of things happened in that dinner that the audience will never hear about or see, right? But Bravo chose to put that in, calling me a bitch. I haven't been on the show for 3 seasons. They had, and then they have her confessional where they say, she says, oh, every I think of Carole, I swipe right or left. And then she's like, Radziwill, right? She called me Carole Radziwill. That line was given to her, right? By a producer, I think a showrunner, I'm pretty sure which one it was. It was given to her to say, you should say this. So she delivers this line, which she did not make up. She does not have a sense of humor. She was given the line and she repeated it. So in that way, it's like, okay, Bravo, touche. Okay. I've been slagging you a little bit on various podcasts or on social media. And that was but I'm saying it's like, you're a corporation, you're a $1 billion company. And I'm just a single girl with bills, right? I'm just here. I was on your show. I produced 6 years of content for your show. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to call me a bitch and then give one of the characters a line making fun of my married name. I'm like, I'm not going to, I bought a mug. Welcome to Radziwill. Like I'm going to lean into it. I don't care really. But those are the decisions that Bravo is making. Now, season 11, my first season off the show, my name came up a lot because I was it was never on the show. Ramona and Dorinda would call me and like, your name came up. And every time my name would come up in a scene, the producers would scurry out and say, stop talking about Carole. Don't talk about her. Because they weren't calling me a bitch and they weren't making fun of my name. And it was never in the show. It was literally like that season. Remember, Dennis had passed away. Dennis was talked about more in the show than I was talked about. And he had passed away. I was still alive and here and involved in some friendships with some of the women, but Bravo never spoke about me. My name never came up in the show. It was like, it was a mandate passed down. Do not speak about Carole. Yet here we are 3 seasons later and they have an opportunity to call me a bitch and they take it. So it's like, okay, Bravo, touche.
Touche, but right, they're a corporation. You are.
Right. Exactly. So when I say that they're steeped in misogynistic, sexist narratives and stuff, I say that, not just out of pettiness. I just say that because that's how I feel. That's what I saw. That's what I see on the show. And that's what they prove, by doing that. There's no reason my name had to come up in that scene at all.
Right. And Heather brought that up when she was here too. She's like,
she did.
Right. She's like, well, I don't know how it came up, but I asked her something and she was like, let me make this clear. And she brought it up. She's like, this is not okay. And like, Carole's not part of the show. Like I went back, not her. So why?
Yeah. But you know what?
See, your friend is sticking up for you on this podcast here.
I'm sure she said something at the time that was cut out, so maybe Heather could say, who knows what happened? All I know is there's hundreds, thousands of decisions gone into every single hour of that show because we film 100 hours a week and they cut it to 43 minutes. There's a lot of decisions being made about what stays in and what goes out. And the fact that they hand her this line to say, and it's just silly. And I don't hold it against her at all. Like, I've called Luann, you know, I've taken Luann to task in social media, and she was getting back at me a little. But the fact is, Bravo is making a decision to keep that in, whereas the other times my name would come up, it was like, oh yeah, we don't want to.
Interesting.
Carole's dead to us.
Right, that first season after you were gone. Well, speaking of your exit, just since you're right here, you know, you talk about things. You're a journalist, Carole. I may be a princess, but I'm definitely not a drama queen. I love that. Well, I just have my behind the velvet rope, but now I want a mug that says "Welcome to Ratsville."
No, someone like literally the next day, maybe Betches, like that feed, Instagram, came out with a mug. It says "Welcome to Ratsville."
You should make t-shirts. You should lean into it and get a piece of the action yourself. I mean,
Do it. I'm yeah, if I was a true capitalist, I would be doing that, but that's just not my speed.
this is where my sick
But
mind goes.
they did send me. I mean, I DM'd them and said, oh my God, that is hilarious. I'd love to order one. And they were like, oh, we'll send you one. So I was like, okay. So they sent me one. Thanks, Bravo.
I love that. Well, I was going to ask you because you're here, so I want to hear it from you directly because so many things are said about so many different things. The one thing with you that is said over and over and over is two things. One, that you were let go because you at the reunion said to Andy, "You're so full of shit, Andy."
I said so much more than that to Andy, but they didn't.
I'm just telling you that that's one
maybe,
thing that comes up all the time.
Maybe.
And then the other is that Bethenny walked in and said, "It's her or me."
I mean, knowing the two of them, right? I would say it's probably more the latter and not the former. I feel like, and I feel like if there was an ultimatum made, it wasn't from Andy. It was, because listen, Andy's in charge. Andy doesn't have to put that in where I called him and full of shit, fuck off. I don't know. I said a lot of things. I mean, I don't know. They didn't put all of it in, but he was full of shit. I just called it like he was totally full of shit. He was defending indefensible behavior.